from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who's here to take you to a mall. Well, characters will be in a mall, but we've walked malls before, and we've strolled we've strolled the meanders of my mind. If I sang a song, it'd be one of those slow songs. It'd be strolling the meanders in my mind. Or if I had an album, like if it was Scoots and Garfunkel, that would be one of our albums. Strolling the or would that be a song on the album? Strolling the meanders of our minds. No, that doesn't work. You're right. It's kind of weird to be a duo. Is that a duo or like strolling the meanders of my mind? I wonder if that's why Simon and Garfunkel, did they break up or they just parted ways? They say, no, I'm not going to be singing a song called I'm not singing a song strolling in the meanders of your mind. It's called Simon and Garfunkel. So who's my mind in that case? And clearly, we both agree our mind doesn't work. I think I think of two parts of my imagination may have just broken up. The good news is it's perfect for a sleep podcast because it's extremely confusing. If you're new, who would have known? Now, there's a real Simon and Garfunkel, and then there's a Simon and Garfunkel within me, my own internal Simon and Garfunkel. Well, now they just let me know they just sent me a memorandum. They said, no, we're Simon. There's a Simon in your mind, and there's a Garfunkel. There's no longer Simon and Garfunkel in your mind, in your imagination anymore. They just said, thanks to your meddling. Wow. If you're new, welcome to Sleep With Me. Believe it or not, this is a sleep podcast meant to put you to sleep, to take your mind off stuff, to keep you company, put barely a smile on your face. Which I may have accomplished somehow. I mean, I'm pretty sure, because this is not anti-Simon and Garfunkel in the real world, or Simon, as well as Garfunkel within my imagination. But I know they have songs or albums like Down Walking on the 34th Street Bridge on a Sunday afternoon or whatever. That's a famous song, right? The sunset view on the 34th Street Bridge. Feeling groovy. I'm kidding. Oh boy. Sometimes I'm so barely entertaining. I make myself laugh because I just can't let it go. Feeling groovy on the Bowery after bourgeois, something like that. Yeah. Because I bet you the song's not feeling groovy, even though there's a song that has feeling groovy in it, but I'm imagining, it's like whispers on the winter side of the park. You wish you were whispering on the winter side of the park. Yeah, many do. Many agree with you. Thank you. Was that Garfunkel or Simon that said that? Oh boy, do I ever wish you were I wish you were on was that the last song they put out? I wish you were on the other side of the park from me. No longer, in parentheses, no longer feeling groovy. But this is a podcast we don't have to feel groovy. Believe it or not, this is supposed to be a 2-second setup. It never is. Just to warm you up to the podcast, to make you feel seen and welcomed. Because this is a show that eventually you'll realize I'm not worth listening to. I mean, you probably already figured that out, but you're like, wait a second, this is supposed to put me to sleep? Yeah, I'm your goofy friend here to keep you company and take your mind off stuff so you could fall asleep. It does take some getting used to, but the cool thing is this show's ad-supported and listener-supported, so you could listen. You have nothing to lose. Listen to give it a few tries, see how it goes. So we got sponsor support coming up. Then separate from the sponsors is a long meandering intro meant to ease you into bedtime. And then later on, we'll have our ongoing episodically modular series, So I'm really glad you're here. And thanks everybody who listens to this show, whether you're new or you've been listening a long time, whether you're one of those silent listeners out there who's just listening in the deep dark night for comfort or company, or you're someone that's supported the show on a regular basis or occasionally, couldn't do it without any of you. I mean, it does look like moving forward, I'll be doing it without my internal Simon or Garfunkel, or both. It seems like it could, it's funny, like how, here's another book I'll never write, The Body Language of My Internal Beings, because they both have their arms crossed. They say, well, that's pretty obvious body language. You're not, it's not going well between us. See, I don't know how two imaginary aspects of myself have their arms crossed and their brows furrowed and they're turned away from me, but I accept it. What else am I going to do? So welcome to Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep, and here's a couple ways we're able to do this for you. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Helix Sleep, and I want you to get matched with the best bed you're ever going to sleep in. Take the quiz at helixsleep.com/sleep, and you'll get matched with a mattress for you and how you sleep. Now, it was April of 2020 when I took that Helix quiz, and I got matched with the Helix Dusk Luxe, and I've been in love ever since. As particularly this year, I've been traveling a lot, and every time I get home, I'm so grateful to get in my bed because I know I'm going to get a good night's sleep because I know it's the right mattress for me, for my sleep preferences, for how I sleep. Because the thing is, the Helix lineup offers 20 unique mattresses. That includes their award-winning Luxe Collection, the ultra-premium Elite Collections. They've got the Helix Plus. That's a mattress designed for big and tall sleepers. A Helix Kids mattress for growing bodies. And the way you'll know what mattress works best for you and your body, you take that Helix quiz, and you'll get matched with your perfect mattress under 2 minutes. And Helix knows there's no better way to test out a new mattress than by sleeping in your own home. That's why they offer a 100-night trial and a 10 to 15-year warranty. Like I said, everybody's unique. Everybody sleeps differently. And that's when I got matched with the Helix at Dusk. I picked the Dusk Luxe. I sleep on my side. I sleep on my stomach. I like those cooling features. And I've probably slept on, including some really nice hotel mattresses, 10 different beds this summer. And not a single one comes even close to my Helix Dusk Luxe. And not only is it the best mattress I've slept on, the setup is fast and easy. Helix mattresses are delivered in a box straight to your door for free. Plus, Helix mattresses all come with a 10 or 15-year warranty, depending on the model. And here's your chance. Helix is offering 25% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep. That's helixsleep.com/sleep. This is their best offer yet, and it won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Take that quiz and let me know what mattress you got matched with. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots here, and this is a message for people. This is a message about Sleep With Me Plus supporting the show directly. And I want you to imagine, like, all the personal services that you pay for on a regular basis, whether it's getting your hair cut, maybe you get food delivered, maybe you get your nails done, or a massage. You know, there's so many people that provide services that are valuable parts of our lives, right? And I just wonder where Sleep With Me falls in those personal services that make your life better. And if you say, yes, Sleep With Me is pretty high, and I probably get $300 worth of value out of Sleep With Me every month. I listen 5 nights a week. It helps me go to sleep so I can work, so I can be a member of my family, so I can get up on time, and so I can feel good about my life. I'm just wondering, like, what would you tip on that? If Sleep With Me actually brings you $300 of value, or whatever it is, would you tip Sleep With Me 5% a month? Would you tip me 20%? Because Sleep With Me is free, and the way it stays free, the way we're able to produce the show, are the people who are willing to pay for the podcast as if it was a service, because they know how much work it takes, because they value the show, because it makes their life better. Please support the show. Think about how much it's worth really to you, depending how much does Sleep With Me improve your life. If it was a paid service, how much would you pay for Sleep With Me if it has a positive impact, like the good feeling you have when your nails are done, when your hair's cut, when your kids, when you get home from from going out and the babysitter's put your kids to bed and fed them, when someone delivers your food with a smile, when someone asks if your drink wants a refill. Those are services that make your life better, and those are worth money to me. And if Sleep With Me service is worth money to you, the way we keep making it, the way it's going to be possible to keep making it in 2025 is you and listeners like you just taking that action, saying, holy cow, yeah, it is worth $14 a month to me. That's about a good tip for Scoots. Or yeah, I'll support it with an annual subscription of what if you support the show with an annual subscription based on what you get out of 1 month of value of Sleep With Me, you could support it for the whole year just based on 1 month worth of value you get out of Sleep With Me. If you say, you better believe I get $245 of value out of the show every single month, that's the top tier supporting the show. It makes a gigantic difference, and it's critical to the future of Sleep With Me. Kind of the action you choose to take right now, if you're agreeing with what I'm saying, if you can afford it, and Sleep With Me is a service that is a part of your life like those other services, your action or inaction is critical to the future of Sleep With Me. Those people that'll set an alarm or go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus right now and support the show, you're supporting the show into the future, into next year. And those of you that wait, it's kind of putting the, it's like, well, I don't know. You're kind of putting the show in a, well, I don't know situation, like saying, well, I don't know about supporting the show. I'd love to have your support because I love making the show. I love having a positive impact on your life and the lives of people who can't support the podcast. There's a lot of people who are listening who just can't support the show, who love it. And that's kind of the difference between Sleep With Me and other personal services. Most of those are pay first, right? You either pay or you get the service, you either pay for the service or you don't. But with the podcast, paying for it's optional. And that's powerful. That's powerful when you support the show directly. But it's also stepping out of your comfort zone. It's doing something different. It's takes some, there's some resistance to it. And I don't just mean with you. It's a natural resistance. And particularly with the Bedtime podcast, it's really hard to convince people, even when they agree with everything I've said so far, to take that action. So if you agree with it, don't wait. Just say, hey, Scoots, here's a tip. You do make my life better. You do deliver my lulls with a smile. I do feel better, almost as good as when I get a really good haircut or hairdo or whatever you call it nowadays. It is like a massage. So you can do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. I'll appreciate it, and so will a bunch of other people. Thanks so much. Oh, Mystery Bard, a lot of people help out in this show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at JonathanMann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcript.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. If you want to be a rebel, if you believe in Sleep With Me, think about, and you can afford to support the show, sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Thanks, everybody. Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts on your mind about the past, present, the future, thoughts you're thinking about, or into, aspects of your personality that have become, I guess they're already sentient. I just don't I don't know. Yeah, whatever you're thinking about. It could be the past, present, the future, all of the above. It could be physical sensations. It could be feelings. related to the thoughts or the physical sensations. It could be changes in time, temperature, routine. You could be going through something, getting over something, anticipating something, traveling, having guests. Whatever it is, the only reason I list all this stuff is so you know you're not alone. Because it doesn't have to be one of those things I listen to. There's people that work different shifts. There's, right now, I can't sleep because of a multitude of things. I'm even trying to, I don't know. My sleep has just been interrupted. I don't know. I record shows out of order, and I have not been able to get it back fully on track. I've gotten it back on track to the degree that's possible, that's realistic. So I'm not totally, I'm trying to practice my wind down and bedtime routine and go to bed at the same time and then wake up. I just wake up when I wake up. But I guess the reason I've listened to any things or talk about the inability to sleep is because this podcast that's what we share here. We don't share exactly the same thing, but we share a familiarity with not being able to get to sleep, not being able to, not that anybody can control their sleep, but you know how it feels, right? Or you have a general idea how I feel when I'm kind of going through what I'm going through, which is trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep, trouble getting back to sleep, and trouble waking up too early. And it's not easy, right? And it isn't something I can just, it's just one of those times, if you're a regular listener, that I'm trying what I can, and eventually I'll get to the other side of it. I'm doing this long enough. And one thing I've learned from making this show is, anything that could reduce which is strange, the need to do something about it. The more I let go, for me personally, the less stressful it is not being able to sleep. It's like, okay, well, I'll get up and read a book now. All right, well, I get up, I'll change change how I'm lying, or, all right, I'll try this. But instead of trying to control things, but also do anything, I guess those are small things I do, but more to distract myself and give myself some comfort. And this show is a part of what I kind of do for other people. Hey, I got somebody that's kind of goofy and kind of silly to listen to that also knows how I feel and reminds me I'm not alone, that there's people around the world who can relate to how it feels for me in the deep, dark night. And that is important. And also the other side of it is true. You deserve a bedtime where you get the rest you need so your life is more manageable. You deserve a bedtime, I guess, I don't know if I'm trying to model behavior, but where it doesn't become, even when you can't sleep or whatever, that you're you have a little bit more ease about it. You say, okay, well, I get it. I'll just try to lie here. I'll try to read my book or whatever. I'll try to do what I can, but I'm not going to try to overdo it, or, I can't force myself back to sleep. So I don't know. This show's a part of that for a lot of people. A lot of people start this shows in the middle of the night, or they turn it back on or whatever. I'm just here to be a friendly, distracting voice in the deep, dark night, I guess is what I'm saying, if you're new, because you deserve the rest you need and a bedtime you don't have to dread. And the way I do it here is I send my voice across the deep, dark night. I use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, and superfluous tangents. So I go off topic. I get mixed up. Then I forget what I was saying. And then I double back. And then I throw in a bunch of filler words. Actually, I don't have to throw those in. They naturally generate themselves. And I think of stuff, and then I can't let it go. I said, wait a second. Because Art Garfunkel, Simon and Garfunkel, you probably heard of them. If you haven't, that's another, I know Garfunkel's come up before in the podcast. It's just a nice word to say. It's a name, not a word, but Garfunkel, Art Garfunkel. If there was an alternative universe where Art Garfunkel didn't exist, and you go there, it's his name, so I can't really do this, but I will, because this is our role. feel free in alternative universes where Art Garfunkel doesn't exist. I think it's probably good. Probably somewhat okay for you to use the name. I mean, as long as you're doing good. If you're disrupting the time-space continuum, trust me, the real Art Garfunkel's not going to be happy about it. I've done, that I have experience with. And because I got to another realm, I said, they don't even call them it does the same thing as a particle collider, but they call it something else there. And then I was going by Dr. Gart Garfunkel. And that was only by accident because it's just how I said, sir, what are you doing here? I said, well, I'm Dr. Gart Garfunkel. So they said, sorry, you're Dr. Gart Frank? And I said, no, Dr. Gart Farfunkel. No, you made me mix up my own name. I'm Dr. No, I'm not Dr. There's no F at the beginning of my name. It's Dr. Gart Farfunkel. No, I already forgot. Dr. Gart Arfunkel's my name, not not... That's what, and then they all laughed, and that's how I got into that place. And apparently, I brought one neutrino too many with me. Not that I know what a neutrino is, but who knew? Like, I didn't realize we could, it's weird that it becomes a tongue twister as soon as you put doctor in front of it. Dr. Gart Arfunkel, Dr. Art Garfunkel, Dr. You could say that one if you need to giggle. But Dr. Art Garfunkel, paging Art Garfunkel, are you here? Oh, man. So Art Garfunkel, I mean, now I've pretty much given the name, Dr. Art Garfunkel. I mean, definitely you can use that in an alternative universe because I don't think there is, there probably is a Gart Garfunkel out there, but I mean... That's a pretty rare name. Gart. I don't know a lot of Garts to begin with. How you spell that? G-A-R-T? Gart. Gart Arfunkel, eh? Man, you should be in I feel like you should be in a band or something. Well, I was in a duo within your imagination. Oh, so another, okay. Well, what were you in? Remember the show Simon and Simon? I just tried to confuse a part of my brain so I could move on. That was a 80s show where two brothers were private eyes or something. It was kind of like Magnum P.I., but with two brothers named Simon and Simon. They probably are. Even in my imagination, that probably didn't work out either. Okay, so how did I go? Man, I went way far afield, huh? So this show is very different. I think you've already figured that out. It does take some getting used to. Most people do not like the show. I mean, would you believe it? For the love of how many times can you say Gart Garfunkel in there? But you say, for the love of Art Garfunkel, man, you're wearing out. I say, yeah, well, I'm here. I'm really here to be barely listened to. So it does take some getting used to. Because a lot of people find the show through a search or through a recommendation. And then you say, wait a second, is this a sleep podcast? I thought this was supposed to put me to sleep. And I say, eventually, I'm here to keep you company while you fall asleep. So this is a podcast you just barely listen to. If you already loathe me, I mean, I would say give it a few tries anyway. But once you know you're never going to listen again, it's really simple. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you is its own website. Has other sleep podcasts and sleepy stuff on there to check out. But just give the show a few tries. You got nothing to lose. And that's what most regular listeners say. It took 2 or 3 tries to get used to the podcast. What else? Oh, yeah. So it's a podcast you don't really listen to. That takes some getting used to. Like, it's almost like an out-of-focus picture. Or I'm one giant word scramble. I still don't know what a word salad is, but people say when they refer to me, sometimes they refer to me as like something about a word salad. I say that sounds like that's if Dr. Gart Arfunkel was in a bowl, I'd say he's a name salad. Says no, yeah, I'm in a band on the side, Or you say, what are you, a doctor? I'm a doctor of funk. I mean, what else would I be, you know? Say, okay, that makes some more sense. So just give this show a few tries, see how it goes. This is also a sleep podcast. It actually isn't here to put you to sleep. I've been making this show a long time. And the one thing I've learned is my job is to keep you company and distract you, to be a friend in the deep, dark night, whether you're awake or asleep, and to remind you there's no pressure to fall asleep with this show. I didn't realize it, but that's what I was just saying earlier. I try to take the pressure even off myself. That's not easy. I mean, I don't do it successfully, to be honest, most of the time, but I try to take the pressure off. There's no pressure to fall asleep with this podcast. It's going to be here. I'm going to be here over an hour. There's over 600 episodes ready to go because there's people listening who can't sleep at all or who need a break during the day or who have, or like me lately, you have no idea how, like, you say, man, I just need something to listen to keep me company and take my mind off of stuff. To be my boar friend, my boar bae, my boar sib, my boy, somebody remind me, boar funkle, my boar bae, my boar sib, my boar bestie, my neighbor, my boar bee, my boars, my best boyfriend forever, my friend in the deep dark night, to keep me company, take my mind off of stuff, to be silly, and to barely put a smile on my face, so that I can fall asleep. Then suddenly I wake up, I'm like, I have no idea what he was talking about. I mean, I do feel like listening to that song, you know, whatever it is, Sunrise on 34th, one of the shortest songs on that album, Sunrise on 34th Street, on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. But it doesn't show up like it when you're on Spotify, so it just says whatever sunrise and whatever. So, yeah, I'm just here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff so you can fall asleep. And then I guess you wake up, you say, what was he talking about? That's the kind of ideal version of the show. Now, you may also be confused by the structure of the show. It is very intentional. There are other versions of this podcast, but this particular version you're listening to right now is what most people enjoy, this linear ad-supported version of the podcast, but you can adjust it and figure out, like, if you become a regular listener, what works for you. But the show starts off with a greeting, friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So if you feel seen and welcomed in, you say, okay, could check that show out. Then there's support, so the show's paying for it's optional. If you prefer something without ads, you could support it on Sleep With Me Plus, or you could be a part of our referral program and actually just refer people to podcasts and get access to that. But then after that, separate from the support, a show within a show, I think we could say that for sure tonight, is the intro, which is a long meandering intro, not meant to put you to sleep, but to ease you into bedtime. And it's usually like 15 to 25 minutes long where I go off topic, I get mixed up, and then I start thinking of stuff and I can't stop thinking about it. Clearly tonight, I'm doing my best not to say the name again because I can feel some people's steam coming out your ears, and I respect you. I'm here to keep you company. Don't worry. I don't need you to give me an earful full of but so that's the last time. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm here to, so the intro goes on and on and on though. And some people, when they don't like the podcast, I kind of get it, but they're like, oh, there's like 20 or 30 minutes of ads. It's like, no, there's a few minutes ads. Then there's a long meandering intro where I talk about nothing. I mean, you got me there. And I'd be barely entertaining, but it's different every time. But it follows a familiar structure. That's one of the important things about this podcast. It's familiar, but there's variety. It's consistent, but it's different every time. And that takes a lot of work, but it's what actually works for the show. Like, you kind of know how things are going to go, but you can't quite get used to it. So whatever's keeping you awake has some variety every time. But the intro part is where most people are getting ready for bed or winding down or getting comfortable, not falling asleep. Because that's what's been shown to work. Then there's support after the intro, and then there'll be our bedtime story, Multiplex. I think this will be episode 14. of our friends in a shopping mall. And yeah, so that's the structure of the show. That's why I make the show. I'm really glad you're here. I work really hard. So do a team of people. And which is strange to make a show sound this free and easy. It does take a team of people, but we all yearn and strive. We really want to help you fall asleep. So thank you again for coming by. And here's a few of the ways we're actually able to do this for you twice a week. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive. Most of you aren't just listening right now. You're driving, cleaning, and even exercising. But what if you could be saving money by switching to Progressive? Drivers who save by switching save nearly $750 on average, and auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Multitask right now. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $744 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2022 and May 2023. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations. All right, everybody, it is time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Zocdoc. And you know we're getting into that season where you might be looking for the right doctor, the right specialist, and maybe sometimes it feels like a game of Mad Libs, like you need this kind of specialist. You need one that takes your blank insurance. You're looking for someone that's within blank number of miles from where you live. You're looking for someone that can actually help you with that blank issue. And here's the thing with Zocdoc. It fills in all those blanks because Zocdoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and choose the right one for your needs and click instantly to book an appointment. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care to skin care, and much more. You can filter for doctors who take your insurance, who are located nearby, who are a good fit for any medical need you may have, and are highly rated by verified patients. And you can also see their actual appointment openings. Choose a time that works for you and instantly book a visit. Plus, Zocdoc appointments happen fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. And here's the thing. I'm going to open up Zocdoc. I've got to get my eyes checked again. And I'm going to look at what my options are near my home. And that's the way I use Zocdoc. Maybe you should too. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments today and go to Zocdoc.com/sleep to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/sleep. Zocdoc.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time for our episodically modular series Multiplex. What a modular series means is that you kind of listen to these in any order, episodically modular, with a touch of seriality. Like this is episode 14, I believe. But you could, believe it or not, consider episodes 1 through 13 of prequels. You could even listen to those in any order. Our main character is going to catch up on everything you need to know and ease you into the story. And then if you want to go back and listen to those other episodes in any particular order, you can. And you say, okay, I barely remember that from episode 14. But I do remember the characters a little bit, that it's in a mall. So just kind of see how it goes, I guess. But the reason we make episodic and modular with a touch of seriality is, well, some people like a familiar story, familiar characters. It's all, like, believe it or not, all the work that goes into the episodic and modular series makes impacts in a positive way the stories for all the other styles of shows we do. And I don't know, it's just a way of telling a bedtime story. Like some of our bedtime stories are short and some are 14 episodes long. So, yeah, that's episodically modular. This is called Multiplex. It's about 4 friends in a shopping mall navigating, helping people and that may or may not, that are helpful or not helpful, and learning about themselves in the process. So yeah, without further ado, our announcer from the greater Los Angeles area, associated with Hollywood, but I wouldn't say just Hollywood, California, because man, was I watching. Now we didn't get to see the whole thing, but I on my screen, on my television, was a young, she's telling me not to say this, but it's true. I said, first I did say, holy Vincent Cassell. Now, I mean that he's taking it as compliment, so don't worry. And I more mean, as you understand, the essence of that, you know what I'm saying, in this film from 1989, I believe, where a young, I'm not kidding, like I literally was floored. I mean, I knew you were in it. I was intentionally watching it, and my mind was blown. Holy cow. Now, here's a question. Was that a mock? I'd have to go back. I'm going to have to go back and finish it anyway. But I believe you were wearing a mock turtleneck through most of the film. But that might he just shrugged. He doesn't even know. So it's a question to wonder. During this film, in Spanish, were you wearing a mock turtleneck? The whole time that I've watched thus far, I don't know. But I do know he comes for his love of sleep, his love of listeners, his range as a performer, but also as a podcast announcer. His range comes from somewhere deep inside him that's caring. He's able to make it into different roles as I'm going on and on about. But, as I've gotten to know him, because we work together for brief periods of time that do feel like eons when he can't be quiet. His natural charisma is noisy. His spiritual essence is noisy. But that noise is he hums like an onion, not an onion, but if an onion could hum, he hums like an engine and an onion. And you also hum like, people cook eggs on engines, How come nobody ever cooks an onion on there? He shrugged at that. Maybe one day we could cook an onion on an engine block. I don't know if I'm not really interested in doing that, but I just think, what is that called? I'd aspire. I guess it would never, who eats their breakfast off an engine block anyway? But I'm pretty sure I've seen it. Somebody cooking an egg on an engine. But this may be my imagination. An onion on an engine. If you find that confusing, you're in the right place. But here's our announcer, Mr. Antonio Banderas. Thank you. You see, friends beyond the binaries, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to get sleepy in the multiplex. Yeah. Clickety, clickety, clack. Yeah. Wow, that was I like that. Was that a sandwich technique you just did there? Again, he shrugs. He shrugs with, he's an amused shrugger. I wonder, I don't think I could ever, I don't think we could get, I would never replace you with Vincent Cassell. But I don't know why that struck me, but I'm still thinking about it. For some reason, I've seen someone else that now looks like a young Vincent Cassell or a young Antonio Banderas somewhere constantly. Maybe it's just a profile picture of somebody I know. So it's currently always on my mind. But anyway, that's Mr. Antonio Banderas, and this is Multiplex. Good evening, everybody. My name is Wyatt, and I'm recording these audios. To clear the record up, maybe it's just for myself. I don't know. Are you from my family and listen to this, or are you part of the world that is listening to this? Somebody that doesn't know me. Well, I'll tell you, if you're going to listen to these audios, you're going to get a chance to know me pretty well. And the reason I'm recording these audios is so that people that got to know me in a way that I did not intend could get to know the real me and hear a real story about how I became who I am. And I only say that because so back a long while ago, first I had an adventure with my friends. So that part I've been telling you about. After that, I had a public access television program that, again, was just aired locally, where I would show autumnal movies, autumnal-themed films, or some films that were like in that kind of genre. And I would interview characters associated with those films or other characters like that. And everybody, you know, it was just a local show. It wasn't even that popular. I mean, sometimes I'd be going to get a burger. They'd be saying, hey, you're Wyatt, right? And the show was called Wyatt and Weird. So that was one iteration. But that was, I don't want to get into it, but because I don't want you watching it, because then someone took all the archived recordings. I mean, I guess in the sense this is good, they digitized them, and then they uploaded them to one of the streaming, you know, one place where you could watch stuff for free. And they became very popular because my interviews were very in-depth, and people wondered, how does he do those effects? Who are the performers on there? And that gained me some fame in my current life, which I feel a little bit strange about, because I say, well, how do I explain this? So this is my version. I explain it in a long, meandering way. Not because that part's important, not because I'm important, or clearing the air is important. Hey, this wasn't makeup. These were real beings. No, that part's not important. What's important is the tale has a bigger part to it. It was a story of myself and my two closest friends, San and Josie, Santos and Josie. Goes by San, and an acquaintance of ours that became a friend, Boyd. And we were all, the three of us, Boyd was an acquaintance who became a friend, but the three of us were friends, and we were all destined for greatness. Or, you know, that term, people say you're destined for greatness. You're going to be the most successful or whatever. We were constantly told that, and we believed it. But more than that, we believed it was one of the most important things we could do. That not only was it our destiny, but it was like incredibly important to be important. I guess in the end, that's kind of what it was. It was essential and incredibly important for us to be important and to take a path that would lead us to that importance, defined at the time by the values and and surrounding us in this would have been our 18th years. And that was success, which would have been success in high school, moving on to ideally, I mean, just by those values at the time, all educated at a place with the Halls of Ivy. And, having a lot of achievements in learning there, and then going on from there to something else big or the next stepping stone. And this adventure didn't deter us. It changed all of our trajectories. Now, some might say that my trajectory had already changed, but I was still determined to get back onto this trajectory of success and importance. But then we were led on this adventure, which I could say is a great adventure, but it resulted in us not being on a trajectory towards greatness, but on our own paths, where being important was not as important as, I don't know, it's tough to explain again. So that's why I'm telling the story. What's the story so far? Well, my friends and I, we went to a shopping mall that had been closed for some time forgotten about. We were there to get Julius J. Juice concentrate and sell it on what would become the internet that had been left behind before the mall closed, but it was still shelf stable. That had been essentially forgotten about, so it was free for the taking. But once we got in the mall, we knew something was different. Time behaved differently. Things behaved differently. We thought it was some sort of immersive performance. Now what you might say is an escape room or an immersive performance theater. And at first we thought that because we saw people were working. The mall had been closed for a long time, but it was perfectly functional. There was workers in stores. And then there was beings from the Multiplex from autumnal films, classic autumnal films. And there was even Crispy Commander, Crispy Commander, Captain Crispy Commander of Crunch. And from cereal, from the famous cereal, like a living, walking, presumably breathing cereal mascot. And people from autumnal films like Franny and The Person Who Couldn't Be Seen, The Count of Chocolate, The Mommy. And they needed our help to get back in their movies. But when we'd get them back in their movies, they would become cereal commercials. And the Crispy Commander explained to us that this is a way to get rid of the autumnal beings so they wouldn't mess with our world. Because this mall happened to be at an intersection of a transverse plane where universes intersect. The autumnal being world or the cinematic world or something. We never asked too much about that. But I don't want to get into it now. The cereal world and our world, and some sort of mall world, I guess. Doesn't make quite that much sense, but I'm just trying to explain it. And so we went on different adventures there, trying to help the Crispy Commander, help these autumnal beings so they could return to their movies, not get in trouble, and become cereal heroes, I guess, and that we would be paid for this. And because time was moving much slower at the mall, no one would miss us. One day at the mall was 1 hour in our world because of the transverse plane effect. Now, it turned out the last person we tried to help was a person who couldn't be seen. And things started to get a little, first of all, we were like, I don't know if we want to help you because you're not the greatest person in the world. But then also became, man, this her person who couldn't be seen after getting to know them and working with them. They said, I don't think I want to be, I want to go back to my movie. I don't want to be a cereal commercial. I want to be the person who couldn't be seen, but a better version who makes better choices. But the Crispy Commander, we were getting pieces of details. We learned the Crispy Commander was in love, or love loosely, had a huge crush, but thought it was love, with a woman who had played a graduate student in a commercial for Frunchies, which was a new version of the Crispy Commander cereal without Crispy Commander in it. And that she was actually an actress. The Crispy Commander learned about that, was trying to get her to the mall so that they could have an acting camp with her. So very juvenile thinking. And so we shifted from helping Crispy Commander to saying, well, this isn't a good idea. She has probably no desire. I mean, she has no frame of reference even to meet a cereal-based being who has a crush on her, who's pretending to be an acting coach. And so we kind of staged a performance of our own to make, and when she arrived, so that she would change her mind, because Crispy Commander made it seem like it was an immersive acting camp. And we kind of had to make her not want to be there by talking about her so she could hear it. And the only way to make my friends get in that kind of mood where they could be not very nice with their words was to tell them the truth, which I had told them right before. That was the last thing I told about in the last audio. So we had got this girl to go back home, basically, and stay out of the mall. We knew Crispy Commander would be mad, but also my Santos, Josie, and Boyd were all very upset with me because I had had a scholarship, right, and an admission to go to this School of Ivy. But my parents had done a good job of, like, working out compromises for a long time. But at some point I started, like, taking things that weren't mine without permission. And now I know, I don't want to talk about the details about why or whatever. We got that figured out eventually. But at this time, it was more of a baffling thing because I would take things and then I would ruin them and discard them. And it wasn't like there was a clear, it was something that was just, I was doing it. I realized I was doing it. But a lot of people might like to portray stuff like that if you haven't done it before, especially as my friends were reacting to, how could you take something of mine? Let's just say you had a favorite drinking glass. And I was over at your house, right? And you drank out of that glass your juice every single day. Oh, boy, this is a drinking glass that I have a shared memory about, but it's also a great glass for drinking out of. And I like to take good care of it. And it's a big part of my life. I think you could relate to that even if you may say, I don't know about it. But and sure, the glass you could drop it, but you take good care of it. And then one morning you discover the glass is missing and you say, Ma, where's my glass? Pa, where's my glass? Maybe you got siblings. Well, I put it in the sink yesterday. And then we've always followed like, now, and I'm your friend. I say, oh boy, this sounds no good. Your glass is missing. And eventually you can't find it. And you go through the, that you've lost the glass and you have your feelings about it. And maybe that's part of the why, I don't know. I mean, I do know, but it's not my place to talk about here. But what really happened is one time when you went up to your room and nobody was in the room, I took the glass and then I took it home with me. But I didn't take it all the way home because then at some point I broke the glass and then maybe put it, threw it away or something. Now, if you found out about that, you'd say, why would you do something like that? Or who does stuff like that? And if you said it to me, I'd say, I don't know. But I did. Yeah, I did. Like, I would never admit it because I learned that, I said, yeah, no, I did that. And because people just couldn't comprehend it. And they couldn't comprehend that, unfortunately, it was new. Like, I wish it was I could have just stopped. Or I guess I'm telling my side of it here. I'm getting vulnerable, but I couldn't tell my friends this at the time because I didn't quite understand it at the time. But it would really come down to why. People want to know why. Did I do something to you? Are you jealous? Is it so low, you feel bad about yourself? Were you in a bad mood? No, I don't know why. That really would have been my honest question. I mean, but if I'm being honest, I'd say I can't quite understand why. I can almost understand it, but I can't understand why. But and I would just say, hey, come here. I don't understand why you did that, but I can see there's strong feelings all around, so you probably need a hug. That's what helped me at the time. But unfortunately, when eventually you're doing that, you think you could get away with it. Eventually you get caught sometimes, especially when it's a business. And I had got caught, and the thing my parents were able to do was smooth things out. Well, the School of Ivy was never going to find out about it, but for some reason there was rules with the way I was going to pay for the School of Ivy that they said you can never do it again, and you could probably go to the School of Ivy, but you're not going to get this particular funding anymore, so you're going to have to figure something else out. So it did have consequences. Then that eventually, it was good because that led me to figure out what to do about it, other than to say, I don't know. And I know you're mad. And you'd say you were sorry, but you were apologizing for something you couldn't quite understand. I'm not asking you to understand it either now, because I counted on that. Because when I told my friends about it, they had strong feelings. So we were able to project those strong feelings to the actress so that she would leave the mall. So that worked. But we also knew, so my friends were not happy with me. Like, this is where we pick up, I guess. They were all kind of staring at me, even though we had the relief that the girl was leaving. We also knew the Crispy Commander was not going to be happy about it either. But we also knew, well, so, like, we knew there was only one door between us and the outside of the mall. But my friends were very unhappy with me. And I said, we got to get out of the mall. Like, we got to get out of the mall. I know nobody wants to talk to me, but we knew the person who couldn't be seen could hear us on the other side of the door. And we said, listen, like, you can't be seen. You get the key and let them out. I'm going to go, like, create a bunch of noise and make the Crispy Commander, like, maybe I'll go to try to, like, I didn't have quite a plan, but I knew I needed to do something. And I guess I kind of felt like I have to do something anyway because, like, I felt, like everybody's staring at me and not happy about something I didn't understand. And they said, well, what do you want us to do? I said, get out of the mall, tell your parents. And they said, no one will believe us. And I said, okay, tell your parents I came here and I'm taking all the Julius J juice and trash and, tell on me. Then they'll come, somebody will come. And they said, well, how does that even work? And I said, well, okay, so it'll work. Like, you all get away. And they said, well, you're just doing this because you feel bad about what you did. And I just said, I do feel badly about what I did. But this is also like the best I could come up with right now. And then the person who can be seen said, the Crispy Commander's already gone. I'll have to find them and get the key. And then I said, what I'll do is try to find the phone then. Like, I could find the office. I could probably outdance the Crispy Commander, outrun the Crispy Commander. And they said, what are we going to do? Just wait here then for either you or the person who couldn't be seen? And I said, yeah, that sounds like I'll find a way to get to the office. And then all of a sudden, though, unfortunately, the PA turned on, for announcements for the mall. And the Crispy Commander was on there, and the Crispy Commander's voice had taken a different turn of total displeasure. And like, it was out there. He said, oh, boy, you're not going to do any of that. You've been N-A-U-G-H-T-Y, and I can't believe you chased her away. I'm going to get her. Like, don't worry, I'll get her back. But now you're all in big trouble. And I said, visible person who can't be seen, please go get the key no matter what you do. You focus on the key. And, you get the key to the store, let them out. Who cares about the trouble? I can handle a serial icon. Because Crispy Commander wasn't a human, it was kind of like the same, bigger than what was on the box. I don't know, kind of fit, the size fit. So I wasn't pretty confident. And then the Crispy Commander said, was going on and on and on, and said, you're going to be I guess because the Crispy Commander was also listening. But then the Crispy Commander said, oh, let me look through this autumnal films, new releases, and for the autumnal festival for this year. Oh, wait, do we have one for last year too? And then we said, wait a second, what? Because the idea was if you played a movie in the multiplex, whatever was not nice in that film could come out of it. But we had only thought it was classic films that were starting on their own. But we had learned from the person who couldn't be seen that it was actually a Crispy Commander playing the movies. And something about the transverse plane or something made it there's some sort of magic in there. And that also, though, if you got rid of the film, that the world maybe would disappear. At least that was what the Crispy Commander told the person who couldn't be seen. And then the Crispy Commander said, oh, yeah, this one looks like a good one. This movie's called Shopping Town Mall with a C. And we looked at each other because we had seen the trailer for Shopping Town Mall. I think you say it with like an English accent. And Crispy Commander even did. And we said, oh, no, that's the one with the mall and the safety friend, the automated safety friends that they do, like they get extra activation due to lightning and it overloads their circuits, and they decide to be non-positive beings. They decide to no longer embrace the safety of the shopping mall, and they're highly advanced. And we said, we can't stay here then. We got to find some place to hide, just like in the movie. And the person who could be seen was still there. And they said, oh, well, I'll be fine. We said, no, they have infravision, so you won't be fine either. And we started to run through the mall. And we even heard, like, their noises because they have voices. And luckily they hadn't detected anything because you could just hear them say, like, patrolling food court, even though there wasn't anybody in the food court because that's where we were. But they would have said, patrolling food court empty, moving to whatever, West Wing B, West Side. And we were like, there's 3 in the movie or 4 or 2. And we didn't know, but we could hear them, and they had, like, because it was like not the same as technology nowadays. They're pretty loud, but they were also very fast. And the next thing we knew was that, which we hadn't realized before, was that there was a sporting goods store. And so we grabbed bikes at a sporting goods store. We started riding bikes because we had seen the film. Staying in the sporting goods store wasn't going to work. But also, we weren't even thinking that straight, to be honest. I think, like, but we were looking for someplace, like, we could be safe from the safety patrol. Or, I don't know, something to tell us what to do. And so we started riding away from the voices, but knowing, like, I don't know, it was intense, the 4 of us. Now, eventually, we turned down this one hallway towards, like, an anchor store because we said, okay, we don't hear any voices in that one. Maybe we could get into the, like, a place I think it was called Taylor of the Lords or something. And then, but, like, as we went down that hall, like a side hall, where you can get to parking and stuff like that, we heard a voice of a person. They said, get in here. Come on. And, like, we almost, like, we jumped off our bikes, but then the gate was closed to the store. And it was a very, of all the gates, this one was like, it was a really solid gate. It was a new store. And we said, open the gate. And they said, where's the ladders? You need the ladders. And we said, ladders? Dude, let us in. We need to get in the, and then we started to hear pretty far in the distance still, though. But it's hard to tell with the echoes and stuff. We heard the security friend saying, noise detected, like analyzing or something like that. We were like, open the door, please. Trying to rogue security bots, hit by lightning, circuits overloaded. And they said, well, like, okay, but get the ladders because we got to get this done. And then I was too blinded by all that I had going on that Boyd had to be like, it's a mall worker. We have to help them. Just like all the other times. We said, well, we don't have time to help you. We'll just find another place to go. And they said, well, I need your help to get everything set up with the ladders. And Josie and San kind of, they already had me at a distance, but they had kind of like already started to look for ladders because they were being reasonable. And they said we passed ladders like 5 stores down, like because they were working again on another store that was empty. And they said, great, grab the ladders, I'll let you in. So we ran to get the ladders. And there was 3 ladders. So we said, should we grab one? We should grab 3 ladders, like grab them all. And then we heard the bot coming. We didn't want to be seen because they were so fast. Then we heard the person who couldn't be seen. And so then like the bot was like getting close to us, almost detected us, but it was confused, right? And we even heard one of them say, switching to infrared, there's presence detected, but we grabbed the ladders. Now, unfortunately, I dropped my ladder right as we got to the door and the gate was going up. And we said, keep the gate low, stop it there. And we crawled, we went under the gate, pulled the ladders. It was like very, like the movie, Indy. And we said, lower the gate. And then we just lied there on the floor, sweating and breathing as the bot came. And then the bot actually knocked one of the bikes over. And at first it didn't say, it did say noted area, missing bikes, processing, no presence. We didn't move, we barely could breathe. And then the worker was standing there. They weren't making any noise either. Also didn't know motion, but eventually the bot went back off. I think because they were still looking for the person who couldn't be seen. And the person, like the worker there, and we realized the store, which I think we'd seen the sign, but the store is called Secrets of Your Success. And it wasn't a store we really went into. And it had the most advanced gate. And the worker was kind of standing there, but we were like kind of recovering. My friends didn't, there was some still distance between all of us. So San and Josie were kind of looking and be like, oh, I've never been in here. And then San goes, wait a second, what? And they're pointing at, because there's stuff on the walls. I'll explain everything in a second, but basically it's like this secrets of my success. I think they sold other stuff, but what they're known for, which is kind of popular, it was like an early meme. Like they have a poster of a river, and then it would say victory. And then there'd be like a quote about victory or something. It would be framed with mat and everything. And I guess like hearing that, and that's kind of the truth of what it was. I mean, it looked really nice, but it was like, where would you put it? I mean, some people had them in their rooms and stuff, but it was a little too nice. And then that's when San was like, this is $750 for just that. I mean, this was a large one, and it was near the cash register. But the worker's like, oh, yeah, this one, that's the price. And we said, no wonder and then someone made a comment about me taking one and kind of, to give my feelings extra jolt. But they said, okay, put the ladders over there. We need to get this display set up. And this store actually had a high ceiling compared to the other stores. And we realized, oh, wait, it was like, this is one of the ones where there must not have been a store above it. Like maybe this was like an area that could have been a part of an anchor store that was 2 stories. Or maybe it was a former, so the ceilings, instead of being like 10 feet, were 20 feet. And there was a place up there for like more of these, I mean, they're not posters, but basically these posters that held the secret to your success. And they said, set the ladders up there. Like, they already had like 3 dots where, I don't know, presumably they were like already lined up. Each one had 3 dots. So there was 9 dots total. And we said, well, what do you want us to do? And they said, well, first we'll put up the pictures. Oh, so these were like bigger pictures. And we said, what are these going to be, like $2,000? They said, oh, yeah, more than that. So this was going to be a framed picture. Then below the picture, a framed word. And then below that, a framed quote. And I think the worker explained that to us. So they said, first we got to get the pictures up. So first thing you do is go up on the ladder. You're going to put a nail in right where the blue dot is, the top of blue dot. And they said, don't worry, hammers and nails, got like belts, whatever. So we all went up. We put 3 hammers in. Meanwhile, Boyd stayed down and was watching the door. And it wasn't really loud because the holes were pre-prepared. And we said, okay, like which pictures they do you want up? And they said, good question. Why don't you choose? This is like, we said, what? And then we said, you know what? Like, can you just let it, this has a back door, right? Just give us the keys and let us out of here. You got the ladders. And we all came down our ladders and we kind of tried to push this person into giving us the keys to the back. But they were like, they're kind of like, it seemed like they're college age or something. And they kept saying, the secret to your success, if this is what you want, my keys, then you'll have to get this done. It's not going to take very long. You already have 1 nail in. Pick your pictures. And so they had all these giant pictures up, and we looked at them. You know, one was like the arch in the painted desert, or the towers in the painted desert, like big waves, lighthouse, people rafting, sunset, plane. You know, it's just tons of cool stuff. Really nice pictures. But again, there's also, I mean, not only the tension of having the safety bots looking for us, but of that I had to kind of, it damaged our friendships earlier, but it only come to light now. You know, people have feelings, you know, even in the midst of other feelings. And so Josie was the first one. And she said, what is this, a bottomless lake? And the person said, I believe so. Well, it's technically not bottomless. It's one of the Green Lakes and just outside of Syracuse, New York. But yeah, that's what gives it its color, is that it maybe technically doesn't have a bottom because it loops around to another lake. Limestone, I don't know. She said it looks like a bottomless lake. And it kind of feels like my pending, you know, we got thrown in the bottomless lake. Like my friend, you know, she was using it as a metaphor for how she felt about me and our friendship. And then Santos picked her up right up on that and picked up a volcano with magma and everything, like churning volcano, and said, I don't even need to say anything, right? I'm choosing the churning volcano. It just looked at me as they said that. And I looked at all the pictures, and first I wanted to look for something stoic, or said, what's the most forgiving outdoor? Like I said, I was looking for something with maybe like a bird taking a bath or the cat. But this place didn't have pictures like that. They were all like natural, not even natural wonders, but wonderful natural things. He said, there's nothing like it. And then there was one that was like one of those, it was very picturesque. It was like an oasis in a desert. And it just looked nice. And I picked that because it made me feel briefly, it was a nice picture. It made me feel like, it's like, I wish I could be at this oasis in the desert. Probably take a swim, take a drink, and surrounded by trees, even though it's in the middle of the desert. Pretty nice. So then we went all the way up. We were wearing our belts. Then it took a little while of like, okay, no, move it to the left. You got to get right corner down a little bit. Then we put in the second nail, and then we came back down, and we had to go through words. And if you've been in this store before, you know the words only have a vague associate, like it's pretty open thing, you know. Like it could be like people whitewater rafting and say trust, and they say, okay, I could see that. But other times it'd be like, you know, victory, and it might just show like, I don't know, a mountain. They say, okay, well, climbing the mountain maybe. And most of the words were like that: victory, success. Let me think of some of the other ones. Like vision, teamwork, leader, triumph, all stuff like that. None of it I was feeling. But then Josie, Boyd, Boyd was kind of supervising. Josie and San, they're kind of going through stuff, especially stuff on the sides. Because it was like the store was getting ready to open or something, or was going through a remodel. So all the stuff's against all the walls. And San found acceptance and went up and started that. And then Josie found service. And I said, okay, well, yeah, those look like things that could be there. And then, of course, one I found was like after a while, but I found it earlier, and I said, no, please. But trust was one I had to go and hang. And then as we're up there adjusting him, of course, what happens is I'd already dropped the bike, then I drop the trust, and it breaks. And then the thing like made a lot of noise because it fell like 15 feet. And then the bots, they knew we were in there because they used their infravision. And they made an announcement, blah, blah, blah. And then they said, open the gate. And the person working there said, no way. We got to get this. They said, we got to get this done. We said, do not open the gate. They said, don't worry, not until the storm. We said, no, do not open the gate, period. Those bots have been kissed by lightning. Now, meanwhile, so they're like going against the door. And we're like, please, like, just let us out the back. Even you can leave the back. And then at some point, the person who can be seen came riding a bike. And even though they were invisible, and they said, I'll protect this bike from you. And so they rode, but only there was 3 bots. 2 of them followed the person who couldn't be seen on a bike, which also made Josie feel better because he was respecting the bike, because in the past he had not been respectful of bicycles. But then one was still trying to get through the gate and eventually would. So we said, oh boy, this is not good. And then we said, quick, like, give me another thing. And we said, is this a puzzle we're supposed to figure out? And they go, no, it doesn't matter what you put up there. Like, just put up any, you're the ones that we're supposed to pick. You're the ones putting so much thought into it. And so Boyd just starts handing quotes, just grabs the first quote, whatever. I don't even know because we didn't read the quotes, obviously, because it was, I'm sure if it was another situation, say, well, that was a Walt Whitman. And, that was Mark Twain who said, whatever, for acceptance. I never met anybody I accepted I liked and never met anybody I liked I accepted. So I learned to accept that I don't like, accept, I don't know, something like that was probably what the quote would have been. But the worker was like, it doesn't matter. Kidding me? think they think about this stuff. It's just the fonts and it's a visual medium. We said, but it's words. And they said it's a visual medium. Just hang them so they're even. So I grabbed another one. I think it was Vision or something. Maybe it was Success. I don't even know. It doesn't matter anymore. And then we're trying to get everything right. Meanwhile, the whole store is like vibrating every time the bot bumps into the door. But we get it done. And the person working there says, perfect, perfect, perfect. Right as we do that, we hear knocking on the door for the store, which is a person who couldn't be seen. And then the worker opens the door. They were surprised that there's someone. They said, "What is somebody knocking at the door?" Think that's hilarious. And the person who could be seen said, "I think this hallway is secure. I think we could go through this hallway secure." And they said, "I have an idea." And we said, "What's the idea?" And they said, "I don't think I have much time left, but I think we pretend that she returned to the mall." So they had costumes, like long hair, so that we all got dressed up. You're kind of counting on that the Crispy Commander was not really that, that it would confuse them. And they said they couldn't get the key to the door, so we had to improvise. So then we started running around. Now, mainly it was a person who couldn't be seen. And they said, but if you three or four can take this hallway, and you can almost get to the multiplex, then you just have to go through the vents, and you'll get there. He said, okay. And they laid out a map of how we would get there. And they headed out on a bike to kind of confuse the Crispy Commander. And I guess that's probably a good time to stop. It's like we were all dressed up like an actress to hopefully to get the Crispy Commander to stop the movie with the security bots. Was the goal of that, or whatever. But yeah, it's a good place. If we could arrest it at this point, this would have been a place where we would have arrested, maybe had a conversation about, rebuilding our friendship and our trust. But really, we just, I don't know. I mean, eventually we would. I guess I could tell you, like Emma Otter would say, all will be well, because all would be well. This was just part of the adventure, we get and realize, and all was well already, even though it's pretty adventure-y too. So good night, everybody. Hey, this is Scoots. This is your tuck you in message about Sleep With Me Plus, kind of the engine that keeps the podcast going at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. And I also want to let you know, I do hear from tons of people who aren't in a position to support the show. And if you can't support the show, that is totally cool. I totally get it. Like when I say in the earlier messages that this message is not directed towards you, it's not. It's directed at people who want to support the show, or just they're like, oh, I am in a position to support the show. And then much like me, they, other stuff distracts them between when I talk about it. That's a pretty normal experience, right? But I always like to clarify that because, now, if you can't support the show financially, but you really want to support the show, we do have the referral program. You could do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer, REFER. Probably had about 10 people who've earned between 3 months and 5 years of Sleep With Me Plus, memberships, just by referring people to a free podcast. So you could do that. You could also always check out our sponsors at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. check out the free trials or take the Helix quiz, and then maybe down the road, you never know. You might be in a position where you want a new bed or you want to try out any of the other sponsors we have. But yeah, it's, I don't know. I always like to clarify that because it's not about the audience is, there's people there that like you don't get like that's the greatest thing about getting emails from listeners, especially the once a year where I do the kind of thing where it's like, hey, if you're in a position to support the show, let me know, because I do hear from those people every year, and I totally get it because I was in that position while making this podcast. I couldn't afford a car. Could lived in a really small 1-bedroom place with my daughter, and whatever came in went right back out every single month. So I know what it's like not to be able to support stuff. So don't worry about it. Again, like those messages at the top of the show are just aimed at exactly those people, because the majority of people, they sleep through the podcast, right? Or they prefer the ad-supported version. So it's just getting through those people that just needed a little bit extra. Or they're like, oh, yeah, like I can put these, I don't use these subscriptions as much as I use Sleep With Me. Let me pause those other subscriptions, because there's a couple of subscriptions. I didn't even pause them. I said adios to, because, yeah, I said, like, I'll start it back up when I'm ready to watch something on there, but I'm not going to pay for it. Just keep it waiting there because I don't use it on a nightly basis. So anyway, I'm glad you're here, and I just want to offer some reassurance and some comfort in the deep, dark night. That's my job. Now, if you are listening to this and you say, well, yeah, I have been putting off support and Sleep With Me, you are the person I'm trying to get through to. And I hope you're comfortable in bed. Don't worry, there's plenty of other episodes of Sleep With Me you could queue up after this. But think about setting an alarm in your phone or putting a note and putting it on your bedroom floor and saying, tomorrow at breakfast, I'm going to go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. I'm going to support that podcast that's there for me night after night after night when I need it, because I do appreciate it. It does make my life Sleep With Me makes my life a lot better. And that's why I pay for a free podcast, or that's why I'm going to set an alarm now and do it tomorrow. Or send yourself a text, though I tend to ignore a text for myself unless it's about what I got to record. So thanks so much, and good night, everybody.